Hi there, so this is your access video for the Manor Farm Barn website. So first of all, I've sent you an email, and on that email is a link with your username and password. So if you click on the link and put in your username and password and then click on sign me in, that will basically then take you to this screen here. You get some strange messages over the right about payments due. You can completely ignore those. There's nothing due. I'm not really sure why they appear, but completely disregard them. Everything's paid for and nothing is due, so just completely ignore those. On the left hand side, you need to click websites. Once you've done that, you'll see a little preview of your website, a little thumbnail there, and then you have edit website. So if you click on that, and what that will do is it will load my software, which is called Bramble. If you've got a high-speed broadband like I've got here, it will load instantly, and if you're on a slower connection, it can take sort of 30 or 40 seconds for that to actually load up. So this is effectively loading your homepage to start with. I'll quickly show you around that. There's a few things to mention before we get too far into changes. The first thing is you'll see lots of strange symbols and things that don't quite look right. They're all absolutely fine, just completely ignore them. Things like your slider will display like all the images stacked on top of each other. Again, you can ignore that. That's not how it looks on the website. It scrolls between these images. And any little crosses that you see here are things that are turned off for phones and for tablets. So just completely ignore them. Don't alter them or change them, and just leave them as they are. The other thing to mention is if you make mistakes, so let's just accidentally delete a block of text, you've got different ways of getting out of that so that you don't damage it, because obviously you are actually editing the live website. So anything you do and publish is actually affecting the live website. So one thing you've got is an undo button, which will put that back to how it was. If you make a real mess, the trick to do, if you've made something drastically wrong and you're not really quite sure what you've done, just don't click the green publish button at the top. As long as you exit your browser without clicking that, you won't do any damage. So just leave the page and we haven't done any damage at all. So that's a really good tip, because I have had a few customers make all sorts of changes that they didn't mean to make, and then they've clicked the green publish button and it has actually saved and published those. So if you're not sure what you're doing, or you're not sure what you've done is correct, you've got the undo button and you've got the option to leave without publishing, and that way you know you haven't done any damage. So it's worth logging in and exploring, and if you're not sure what you've done, just don't hit publish and you'll be absolutely fine. So the first thing to show you around is the home page. If you wanted to change these main images, you'd have to let me do that at the moment, because you'd have to resize and compress everything in Photoshop. So leave those big slider images for me to deal with if you want to alter those. I can tell you how to do them in a separate video if that's something that you want to do, but for now, any of those images there that you want to alter, you're going to need me to do that for you. So if we focus mainly on the text, everything that you click, you get a nice green box that highlights to basically tell you you're selecting that area and editing that area. One other thing to mention is all of these words on your website, things like self, catering, accommodation, Suffolk, they're all keywords that have been listed and sent off to Google. So what you don't want to do with this website is come in and start removing some really good keywords. So just focus on making any small alterations in the paragraphs and additions and adding more text, and make sure you're not deleting and removing lots of keywords, because it will have effect on the way the website ranks in the coming weeks. So effectively you go in much like a Microsoft Word document, alter any bits that you want to do. When you're happy with the changes, you hit the publish button and you've saved it. So pretty straightforward. Every image that you click is the same kind of thing. You have this little move, so if you decided that you wanted to put this image on the left, you could just drag it and move it to the left hand side. So pretty straightforward. Again, you have an undo button. Again, I'm not really going to go too much into images at this stage. I can do that in a separate video, but it gets a bit fiddly because everything has to be sized and compressed in Photoshop. So for now, let's just focus on getting you in and accessing the text. And if you want to do more with images, give me a shout and I'll do that in a separate video. So that's basically navigating the home page, clicking each section, making any alterations that you want to do. So that's your home page. If you come up into the top here, you've got all your other pages stacked up. I've tried to label them so they're fairly clear. So it should be pretty straightforward to find what you want. If you're not sure what they are, just click them, and then you'll soon know when you've clicked on the page. So this is the page for the Manor Farm Barn, and again same principle. You would log in, you'd click around, change any text that you wanted to change, correct any wording that you wanted to correct, Adding more is quite simple. You just add in any extra bits that you wanted to do. Same as before, you've got that undo button if you're doing things like that which you didn't want to do, and if you make a real hash of it, exit without saving. Same again if you wanted to swap the image orders, dragging and dropping the image orders, you can do that. Adding things into the bullet point list, same thing as well. You just add a new bullet point into here, put in whatever it was that you wanted to put in. Again, if you didn't want it, you got your undo. Again, able to go in and make any changes there. So I hope that's enough to get you around the site itself, navigate through the different pages so that you can use those. Should pretty much give you the things that you need at this stage. Another thing to mention is don't play around too much making font sizes bigger and smaller and doing too much of that, because again they've been optimized and changed so that they work on phones and tablets. So best to not really go around playing too much with fonts and font sizes, because you may find on a mobile phone or a tablet they do some strange things, whereas at the moment I've tested and checked all of that to make sure they behave properly. So another quick thing to look at is the gallery page. I'm sure you might want to make some alterations to those. So you have the Manor Farm Barn gallery there and the Granary gallery labelled there. So let's go on to the Manor Farm Barn one. With this, much the same as I showed you before, you've got a trash can if you didn't like a photograph and you wanted to take it out. So that's what that's just done there. Again, you've got your undo button if you didn't mean to. You've got the little move if you want to drag it and change the order, you can do that. So you can able to move and reshuffle these around. Literally as and where you want to. You can drop them higher and lower up the page and get the order exactly as you want them to do. And anything you don't want, again, you've got that trash can, which you just click them and it'll remove them. So say we didn't want that one, you could take that out. Again, we'll cover putting new ones into this gallery in something separately in a separate video if you want to do that. But just for now, at least it will give you the opportunity to remove any that you don't want. And change and shuffle the order around. Again, I've made a few changes there and I don't want to save those, so I'll just exit and leave without hitting the publish button, knowing that page has done no damage at all. So hopefully that is quite useful to get you started. It at least gives you access to the website, it gives you access to change all the text, it gives you access to shift around and move images and order. Quite happy to do another video if you really do want to look at uploading your own images. It will just have to cover things like resizing and photoshopping and compressing, but it can be done. Quite a lot of my customers do their own images and look after that side of things as well. So I'm quite happy to go through that if you like. One last thing to say is at the moment it's best to not access the booking system pages, so the Granary booking page and the Manor booking pages. The reason is it's done through HTML code, so if you go onto those booking pages and you start making changes, chances are it's going to take off the whole booking system. So at the moment I would avoid doing anything on those pages, just purely because going and accessing those will tweak the HTML code that I've put into there. So best to probably avoid the actual booking pages. If you need me to make any changes to the booking pages, obviously quite happy for me to do that, because I know the code to put back in there to get it working. But yeah, I hope that's helpful and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching.